but looks like there's already cannon spots that are I'm guessing there's probably safe spots all over the place. But try over here. Yeah. See if so there's 3 blood belts in this room. There might be 4 that spawn in this one. Oh, these drop big bones. Wait. No, they drop ashes. But I guess they drop big bones every once in a while. Rocking the Carol's crossbow for a change. I do believe this actually puts out higher DPS than like the rune crossbow. Just the attack range is way shorter, so but that doesn't seem to be a problem in this location. Is that a double cannon spot? Well, this is going pretty quick. And we'll call that the safe spot there. Yeah, so that hits all of them. That's good. Maybe at some point we'll try to tweak this cannon setup to try to get some double ball locations. Just gonna leave that on. Sometimes, oops, not that one. Sometimes I just like to leave it on and chill. Well, this is definitely way better than the way I was doing it. I was killing the blood belts in the catacombs, and those things are like have probably twice the health or more of these, and you can't use a cannon in there, so you get assigned 200 of them. It takes a hot minute, let me tell you what. lately. Been playing it a lot more because of the Worms Crack update. You know, part of me feels a little sad that my island didn't get picked, but it really didn't follow the guidelines, so they would have had to cut a lot of corners and probably release it, have a really delayed release. But it would be cool if they at least took some of those ideas and possibly implemented them into the game at some point. Yep, there's some big bones. Honestly, I'll probably pick those up. Every little bit of prayer XP helps. So, Bloodvelds they're kind of unique in that they use magical melee. They use magical melee, so you can nullify all their damage with protect from melee. But interestingly enough, if you want to tank their hits with your defense and no prayer, you want yourself magic defense gear like this here Carol's. So well, I'm thinking maybe tonight I'm gonna eat pizza. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of sugar cinnamon on the crust. I got the idea because one time every once in a while I'll be eating a pizza, and for some reason the first bite tastes like I taste a real subtle hint of cinnamon for some reason, and so that's how I got the idea. I don't know what was going on there, but I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll try putting cinnamon on the pizza. So I sprinkled some here and there. So each bite, you get a different varying amount of the cinnamon instead of just the same evenly coated on the pizza. So that was good, but I decided to just start putting it on the crust because, the crust is arguably the least enjoyable part of the pizza, and it'd be kind of like a little treat think, I don't know if the bone crusher would even work, because I think these are just like actual drops from the drop table instead of a guaranteed drop because of their dying corpse. Blood runes. The ones in the catacombs really drop a lot of blood runes and soul runes. Well, speaking of pizza, there's a meat pizza. I wonder if I take it that's like meat lovers style pizza, which it's okay in my opinion, but I honestly don't mind just eating a regular pepperoni pizza, or I like just sausage, but when they put too much meat on it, it just doesn't taste like a pizza anymore. But let me tell you what, I used to eat, I think it was called like Italian pot pie or something. It was like a standard chicken pot pie, but it was like, had a meat lover's pizza, like ingredients in it. You just had to be real careful because it'd burn the heck out of your mouth if you don't wait for it to cool down, and you gotta break the shell and stuff, or otherwise it would like never cool down. When I worked at the factory, I had 30-minute lunch breaks, and I think it took 5 minutes to cook in the microwave, and then I had to wait for it to cool down. So it's like a double cannonball spot right there. That's nice. But honestly, there's like only 3 blood belt spawns here, so I'm gonna leave the cannon running there and see. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Just 3 max in all these rooms here. So in my opinion, one of the best, most important changes you can make is actually designing a fail-safe system that is as foolproof and safe as you can. Like, the most recent one I seen is, this, like, 6-year-old kid died on one of those drop tower rides because she wasn't seat belted in. She actually just sat on top of the seat belt. And you can argue it was the ride operator's fault because he should have noticed she was sitting on the seat belt. But the thing is, like, it was a kind of seatbelt that's adjustable, so it has the long tails. And so the girl, she sat on the seatbelt and then for some reason put the tails over her lap, like she didn't understand for some reason how seatbelt works. But like, she was wearing black, all black, so the seat belt kind of blended in anyway, and she had the tangs, or the tails, over her waist, so the ride operator thought she was belted in, you know. And the ride operator had a false sense of security because, you know, the ride has safety measures, like the computer won't let the ride cycle unless the seat belts are detected to be clipped in. But the thing is, they didn't really account for someone sitting on the seat belt. So you could argue, oh well, the ride operator should have seen it. It's his job. But humans make mistakes, and weird stuff can happen like that. So, I sure hope they made some changes, but like that, like one thing they could do, and I'm not saying they should only make one change, they need to make multiple fail-safes. But like a big one would be having retractable seat belts. That would definitely help. And maybe like a bright color seatbelt, like a neon green or yellow, with possibly like a pattern on it, so like it'd be almost impossible for a guest to be wearing something as bizarre as whatever pattern you place on that seatbelt. So you can definitely easily visually tell that the seatbelt is in front of them. And the seatbelt should be, like the standard kind you would find in a vehicle, because that's what, children would be used to. And so they would likely understand, be familiar with those seatbelts, as you're kind of expected to belt yourself in on rides, and the ride operator will just check to make sure you're belted in. And the seat belts were really weird. They were over the lap seat belts, but it was weird because there was two of them. There was like a standard one that didn't link to the computer. It was just a backup, so to say. But then the main seatbelt was linked to the computer, and but that's just weird, having two seatbelts. So I would rather see a standard retractable seatbelt paired with like a over-the-shoulder restraint, instead of just two of the same seat belts. And I think they were connected to the same structure of the chair, so if somehow that structure failed on either side, both of those seat belts would become compromised, as opposed to if you had, like I mentioned, a retractable seat belt. If that failed, you would still have the contingency of the over-the-shoulder restraint. It's like the same thing with space travel and airplanes. You want to have as much redundancy as possible, so if one thing goes wrong, you have several backups. Well, my cannon broke. Good thing you don't need to bring a hammer, I guess. Though that would seem fair enough, as the dwarf multi-cannon's pretty OP for Slayer. So taking up an extra slot for a hammer honestly wouldn't. We just went on a tangent off in left field, didn't we? With the redundant contingency see safety harness devices there. Yeah, the whole boat combat right now is likely gonna be changed and revised, improved. I'm glad I didn't go this route. I'm glad I found out you can just make Slayer rings to easily get to Mortimer, because I was considering actually just leaving one of my boats parked in that cavern or outside of it with a teleport focus on it so that I could just teleport from the normal spellbooker with a teletab right to my boat next to Mortimer, but I'm glad I didn't do that because the drop rate for the bottle of storm is like, you get it from like armored krakens, which to me seem like they just kind of suck to farm, so. And turns out you can't even take one of those big boats into the cavern there. I think you can only put the greater teleport focus on the big one. But then, it's like, thank God for Slayer rings. Thank God for being able to create them yourself. So you're not wasting Slayer points buying one ring for 75 points each. That's expensive. I'm finding I'm using the Slayer ring not just to get to Mortimer, but also it's great to get to some Slayer locations. I've never really utilized the Slayer ring until now. Sold blood-belled head. I'll be collecting those when I get like a big stack, like 200 or something. When I get the blood-belled Slayer task, I'll go ahead and use up these heads for that sweet prayer XP. In combination with counting towards task kills, of course. You like reanimate these heads into spirit blood belts and these new content on Worms Crag to see what other players are doing. I'm sure there's some money makers that were brought into the game, or at least right on launch. You could probably make a lot of money from doing something like, I'm sure, farming the Mad Angel boss and maybe the golem crafting. I don't know what rewards you get from that yet. I could have swore the main reason the old school team picked Worms Crag was because they liked the idea of a PvP simulation boss. But to me it doesn't seem to have any PvP mechanics really whatsoever. It seems to be more like PVM, entry into like PVM. So I don't know, maybe they had to cut that idea to save time, or maybe I'm just mixing it up wrong in my mind. But I mean, you don't have to do any switches whatsoever. You really don't have to. You just pretty much pray melee the whole time, and then there's that weird mechanic that comes along that you can switch to pray mage, but like you won't get damaged at all if you like flick to mage on and off mage, like on the ticks. The angel attacks you 3 times in a row with magic. It's kind of weird, but I guess there's something similar in the Colosseum. And of course, the Mad Angel's signature special attack with the sweeping giant sword slash attack, where you have to go to one side of the arena to block it. That has nothing to do with PvP either. You would never encounter stuff like that. Or there's like a mechanic she does where she throws this like magical spike ball, and you have to actually run and stand on the shadow of where it's gonna fall, and then it'll like rebound the ball at her and do damage. So that's PVM. So I must have read something wrong, I don't know. The spec weapon she drops is definitely not a PvP, gonna be used in PvP, changing up any metas there. Really anything that involves like multiple hits to like multiple NPCs is more of PVM spec weapons. Well, the cool thing is, it doesn't just crumble to dust, it gives you back your gem, so that's another win. You don't have to go and buy more. Just use a gold bar and a ring mold on this to make another charged one. You don't have to enchant it or anything. Well, we gained 18,720 experience points, 10 Mortimer tasks. It's coming along, man. Let's see what's next. So I'm noticing something kind of interesting. I don't know if this was intended or not, but Mortimer is actually assigning like stuff that I haven't unlocked, like Aquanites. You would normally have to buy this unlock here. Steve and Kurda will be able to assign Aquanites. So all this stuff, the basilisks, I'm getting tasks on those. So I'm hoping, it'd be cool if they removed that, cause, the basilisks and the aquanites and the lava strike worms and stuff are kinda clogging up the stuff we want. But it's alright, we'll just see. But, plus 40 Slayer points, plus 65 assigned. Well, I'm gonna, I think, do some research, because I don't know what the mechanics are like on these, but I'll probably select these. But, like barraging tasks like these dust devils, they require a lot of blood runes for your ancient magic barraging. So I'm curious, I'm gonna do some research and see if that new sword that the Mad Angel drops has the ability to, like, I don't know, you can stack up and like swing and hit all of them on the same tile. That would be really good, if you didn't have to consume runes. And like, I can do that with a crystal halberd with the spec, but if the sword doesn't require a spec and it just naturally hits all of them, that's a pretty big deal. So I'm gonna go check that out. And boy, those aquanites look pretty cool. So